Alright, going to do a video monologue about this USA. What a great country it is. Uh, you know, nowhere on earth do I believe we have as many opportunities as we have right here. They're just not available. We have resources, we have freedoms. It's great. So in the USA, we have the opportunity for self-reliance. We have a lot of resources to be able to do that and to pursue it. So here's my list of 50 self-reliant skills that I believe everybody should have. If you want to prep for emergency situations, here are 50 things that I believe you can do to prep yourself for any kind of an emergency situation or just daily life to be self-reliant. Hike 5 miles a day with 25 pounds on your back for 7 days straight. What do you feel like after that? Have the gears and skills for disease prevention, first aid, CPR, Red Cross training. How can you accomplish that? Water purification. Do you know how to use Steri-Pen, which is ultraviolet light to destroy viruses and bacteria? Chlorine dioxide tabs, water filters, boiling. Do you know which methods work best? Do you know that nothing really removes heavy metals and oils? Have you ever done laundry in austere conditions? I'm just talking about something like washing out a pair of socks and some pants and hanging them up to dry. What kind of soap are you going to use? How long does that take? What does it take to get it clean? Human sanitation, how are you going to handle that in a variety of environments? Urban, suburban, rural, backwoods. Just let me tell you that a lot of times it's going to involve a pail, some gloves, some bleach, and a shovel. Not a nice sight, but got to do it in a sanitary way. Do you know how to use a wood stove? Proper drafting technique, fire lighting techniques, what kind of wood, how long is the wood going to last? Those kinds of questions. Have you tried cooking meals, an extended amount of meals on your propane camp stove, Dutch oven, things like that? If you're cooking and seasoning foods like beans, rice, wheat, stuff that isn't pre-cooked, pre-prepared, can you make it a palatable meal? Do you know how long it takes to prepare some of that stuff like hard beans and wheat to make flatbread? Have you tried vacuum sealing, dehydrating, preserving your own food, making your own jerky? Can you make your own MREs? I've tried that and done that. It works. Takes some time. Takes a little bit of investment. Have you ever considered hygiene needs without hot water and running water? Ever taken a sprinkler can shower? It's enlightening. Try it sometime. Do you know half a dozen knots very well? Do you practice them? Talking bowlines, sheet bends, figure eights, taut line hitches, clove hitches, prussics, that kind of stuff. Can you use them? An idea, go to a climbing gym. Learn some rappelling and climbing techniques. I'm not saying you're going to be an expert, but at least learn the basics. Can you put up a tarp, tent, mosquito netting to keep yourself off the wet ground, cold ground, still be able to stand up? Sitting in a tent for extended periods of days and not being able to stand up and walk around is really frustrating and demotivating. Do you have and use proper safety gear when you're out practicing different things? Do you have knee pads, leather gloves, eye, ear protection, some kind of a helmet? If you're in wet environments, neoprene gloves, overboots, fully waterproof rubber overboots, kind that construction workers use, not your Gore-Tex hikers. Do you practice safe lifting techniques? If you're young, save your back. Lift with your legs and keep your back straight. Again, near water, do you know how to deploy and use a water throw rescue bag and pulley system as shown in many kayak rescue type videos? Do you know how to recoil it and redeploy it? Have you practiced with it? It doesn't come second nature and you don't have a lot of chances to get it right. Do you know how to paddle a canoe? Can you upright a capsized canoe? Have you ever tried to use a rowboat? Everybody's all into the motors and the speed. Try the old style way of using a rowboat to row across a lake in windy conditions. You'd be surprised. Speaking of lakes, have you tried some fishing? I'm talking just panfish. You don't have to be a great musky fisherman, a marlin fisherman. Just panfish. Do you know how to clean a fish? Cooking fish. Can you clean and cook small game? Squirrels, rabbits, that kind of stuff. Do you know how to use bear spray if you're in bear country? Do you know how to hang a bear bag? Hang your food up so you keep it away. Remote areas. Do you know how to practice navigation skills? Use navigation skills. I'm talking map, compass, USGS quads. GPS is nice, but those batteries wear out quick. You know how to use a pair of binoculars and a rifle scope. Equipment. Do you know how to start and use a chainsaw safely to fell a tree, buck a log, delimb a tree? Can you use an axe and a saw to do it? That's great. Chainsaw is a little different set of skills. Can you split a cord of firewood with just hand tools, a splitting maul, axe, wedge? Go to a shooting range. Learn how to safely load, unload, clean, and fire a weapon. I'm not talking AK-47s and Glocks. I mean, those are all great. Just start cheap. 22s, 12 gauge. Hey, play with a slingshot. Shoot a bow. You know, try something a little different. Do you know some hand-to-hand self-defense techniques? I'm not talking about weaponry here. I'm just talking about hand-to-hand self-defense. Do you know how to start and use a generator? Some generators, small ones, gasoline engines, require you to mix the oil and gas. Do you know how to use it? Can you read a nameplate on an electrical motor? Convert watts and amps, use an ammeter. You know, you're going to fire up that refrigerator and furnace, whatever it is, hook it up to your generator. Is it going to work? Is it going to handle it? Can you safely start and use an oxyacetylene torch to cut metal, do primitive welding? Can you solder wire together? Handy skill. A lot of things can be fixed by soldering wire. You know how to sharpen a knife using a variety of abrasives, not just your favorite leather strop and polishing compound. I'm talking sandpaper and whatever's available. Have you ever done some rough framing? Volunteered at Habitat Humanity, helped a friend build a garage, whatever. Use a hammer, tape measure, pencil, nail belt, speed square, chalk line, framing square, circular saw. Not that hard. Have you ever hung drywall and taped and mudded drywall? Not a primitive living skill, but it sure makes things a lot nicer, and it really is not that hard to do. It just takes time, patience, and practice. Not a lot of tools. Can you sweat a copper joint? Know how to use PVC primer and cement? Have you ever worked with concrete? One of my dreams is to be able to pour some pillar type footings for a backwoods durable structure on land that I'd like to own. Do you know how to use a come-along, winch, pulley system, pry bar, bolt cutters? These are all simple mechanical devices that really help make your job a lot easier in non-motorized type situations. Do you know how to use a table saw safely? Are you aware of the different hazards on cross-cutting and ripping, kickbacks, pull-in hazards, pulling your hand into the blade? Do you know how to prevent that stuff? Have you ever changed your tire? Seems silly. Be surprised how many people have never changed a tire. You know how to use a jack. In my experience, there's 3 different kinds of jacks. Scissor, screw type style jacks, which modern cars come with. Hydraulic jacks that you see mechanics using. And ratcheting jacks, the old kind your grandfather used to use on the bumper. Now they're farm jacks. Do you know how to use them all? And reverse them all to make the car go up and the car go down. You know how to change the oil in your car. One of the few things you can do yourself these days. Do you know how to drive a vehicle with a manual transmission? I'm all for automatic transmissions, but a lot of heavy duty equipment has manual transmissions. Do you know how to safely hook up and back up a trailer? Do you know how to secure a load in your trailer? You know how to troubleshoot a lighting system? Not difficult, but have you ever spent 24 hours in your house or your apartment with the main circuit breaker off and complete a normal workday routine? I'm talking still taking some kind of hygiene, shaving, cooking, the whole 9 yards. Have you spent an overnight or with just a knife, a stainless steel canteen, Mylar emergency blanket, and a long fire? If you're going to spend a night in your house without Your electricity, you're going to be tempted to use things like open flame devices. Make sure you know how to practice and use techniques to reduce carbon monoxide and combustion hazards. There's all kinds of accelerants around your house. Try getting outside and working, walking, setting up camp for 12 hours and then rest in those same conditions. I'm not just talking a quick overnighter. Do it 24 hours. Work for 12 hours and then sleep for 12 hours. Feed yourself. All kinds of weather conditions. Night, day, mosquitoes, wind, hot, humid, downpour, rain, blizzard. Again, just some things to think about. Try and make this short. It's about 10 minutes. Thanks a lot.